The economic emergency that's tied directly to the pandemic is especially brutal for small businesses all over the country. In many cases, some owners are beginning to face questions this spring about whether their business can survive. Amna Nawaz has more on the storm of troubles people are facing.
A sudden and complete drop in business has left many businesses struggling without sales or income. The government is trying to help. As part of a $2 trillion aid package signed into law by the president and Congress, nearly $350 billion will be used to ensure banks provide loans and loan forgiveness for small businesses. But small business owners say they're having major trouble getting their loan applications moving through banks and the Small Business Administration, or SBA, which helps to coordinate those federal funds. Here's what a few small business owners shared with us.
My name is Justin Moore. I'm the general manager of Uncle Bobby's Coffee and Books in Germantown, Philadelphia. Like most retail spaces, it's been a bit of a nightmare since the middle of last month. The biggest, pain point for me since we closed our doors is just worrying about everyone's well-being, not just from a health standpoint, but financially as well. And we have these recurring expenses, these bills, including rent and insurance, that we have no way of being able to pay without some assistance from the SBA.
My name is Greg Honeycutt, and our company is Honeycutt Construction and Design in Houston, Texas. We bank with Wells Fargo. All they communicated to me after I registered was, we're still not ready to actually do the application process. Please don't contact us again.
My name is Travis Powell, and I own the Best Western Plus Frontier Motel in Lone Pine, California. It's a small town of 2,000 people, and both of our banks, neither one of which is affiliated with the SBA in any way. And Saturday morning, I sat down and sent out either 32 applications and or contact forms filled out online. I've heard back from about half of those, and they all state the same thing, that at this time we're only servicing people with existing loans or existing accounts.
My name is Christine Goslin, and I have owned my salon since 2002. I had called our bank, and I was told that there were over 400 applications, and at this point, I would be on a wait list. I could get by clearly this month and maybe next month, but I did tell my husband that if we're out through May and into June, I might have to start looking for some sort of job.
I am Jennifer Myers Polidori, owner of Myers of Keswick, a British specialty food store in Greenwich Village, Manhattan, New York. I have tried, I guess you can say, since Friday, April 3rd, to apply for the SBA loan. Basically, the biggest challenge has been trying to actually get through and click submit so that I know that my application has gone through.
We're running out of money rapidly. I'm in the process of using the CARES Act to borrow from my 401k, and that'll allow me to pay my employees for about a month more. They're at part-time right now being paid.
So we have 4 full-time employees. I paid them for 2 weeks. That was 2 weeks ago. We're in week 3 now. I have not paid them this week.
I understand that, things are going to be slow because we're dealing with some extenuating circumstances, but at this point, almost a month after we've closed, I need some type of timetable at this point.
You know that you're kind of in a race to fill this out and get this application submitted, and you think you're moving along, and then boom, you get bumped out. So you wonder how many people actually got to click submit before you. And it's very daunting. I've lost a bit of sleep over it.
That loan program they mentioned is known as the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP. Businesses with fewer than 500 workers can qualify. They can use that money to pay for up to 2 months of payroll, leases, and utilities, and those loans, in some cases, can be forgiven. We're going to talk through all the details of that program and what businesses are facing right now with Lisa Desjardins, who joins me now. Lisa, you can hear in their voices the anxiety, the concern, the worry. How representative are some of those stories with what's happening across the board right now?
Amna, I and our team have been talking to a lot of small businesses, and those are completely representative of what's happening. Essentially, there is a massive bottleneck in trying to get this money, incredible demand, and not the ability to get it out let's look at the specific issues of what's happening. Right at the front of it, banks are limiting these loans. That in part is because some large corporate banks feel they're under constraints, and some smaller banks are worried about their balance sheet, that they can't handle as much of the volume as the demand entails. Now, also part of this, Amna, however, is that banks are not getting very much specific guidance from the government as to exactly who qualifies for these loans. The nitty-gritty details that they need, they say they're not getting. So all of this, Amna, has led to long waits, sometimes a wait just to get your application in, much less to know if your application has been approved.
You know, Lisa, navigating a federal process, even without a global pandemic going on, can be a frustrating process. How much of that bottleneck is due to the fact that this is just unprecedented, this kind of program at this kind of scale?
Yeah, that's the right question. Absolutely. That is part of the problem. No country, certainly not the US, has ever tried something like this before. I want to convey what this program looks like, so a sense of scope of all of this. So the total program, as you've reported, is about $349 billion in funding. That's been approved so far. Now, just in the past 2 weeks that it's been in existence, I'm told as of today, some $151 billion has been approved for small businesses. So consider this, Amna, all of last year, the SBA loaned out only $28 billion. So they've, in the course of the last 2 weeks, loaned out 5 times what they did all of last year. So this is unprecedented, and it's fair to say that they're working as hard as they can. But Amna, there are others who say the SBA and Congress itself should have thought about this a month ago, 6 weeks ago, when they knew an economic tsunami was coming.
You know, Lisa, you hear even in the stories of the folks who sent in their experiences with us, there's a diversity of experience. There's variation in their stories, right? And when you think about who has access to capital markets and to financing, even again, when pandemics aren't going on, that varies, whether you're a minority-owned business, whether you're a rural business. Is any of the recovery effort geared towards that, towards evening out some of those inequities?
No, not yet. And that's something that's really been discussed. I think that right now, this is an untested program. It's not clear where the problems are. That's why we're reporting on it right now. But you could hear in those stories the diversity of experience from the construction owner and salon owner who had applied and were just waiting in a very long line to hear from their banks, to Travis. He was the hotel owner in rural America who really wasn't sure he could find a bank that would support him because so many banks, Amna, have limited this loan only to their current customers. And many banks in rural America don't carry SBA loans. They're not part of this process usually. So that has left rural America, especially sort of in a tougher position than others.
So Lisa, what about Congress? What are they working on? Is there more potential help on the way?
There is talk. Everyone agrees in Washington that more money is needed for this. They disagree about how to divide it. The president wants $250 billion more just in general for small businesses. Democrats want it to be targeted to community banks, especially those rural ones, and for disaster loans and assistance. But I want to give people a sense of sort of how this all works or where we're at. So for small businesses, here's why this matters so much. 48% of this nation's workers work for small businesses, and 90% of them told the National Federation of Independent Business, a major small business group, 90% said that they are experiencing an impact from the coronavirus. That's a huge surge in just the last couple of weeks. Moreover, Amna, most of them told the NFIB that they don't think they can survive 2 months without any help. And so what's happening, Amna, is this is a situation where there is an economic curve as much as there is a healthcare curve. And if there is not help for these businesses just in the next couple of weeks, we could see some businesses that just feel they might have to turn to bankruptcy. So the time is very critical for many of these businesses.
That time is very critical. That help is critically needed too. Lisa Desjardins reporting for us tonight. Thanks, Lisa.
You're welcome.